Thinking versus feeling. Women have been taught to think and not to feel. Women have been taught that they should be upbeat all the time and they must feel happy all the time. Our culture teaches us that there is something wrong with pain. Our bodies know how to deal with pain in releasing tears, releasing toxins.
So as you begin to do these separations, you will find it very emotional, but it is okay for those emotions to be there. Let your tears flow, because that's one of the gifts you can give to yourself. A lot of us are afraid of emotion. We have a fear of grief because as children we have been taught that it is not okay to share our emotion. But let's stop and think about it. If we weren't supposed to feel, would we have feeling? If we were supposed to cry, would we have tears? In the Dagra tradition, it is very natural for people to cry. In fact, a person who does not cry is looked at as a time bomb, for the simple reason that when we do not release our emotions, we allow ourselves to harbor negative emotions. But the truth is that we are born feeling. We are born crying. Have you ever seen anyone teach a child how to cry? We know when we feel pain to release with tears. And so the first thing we do when we come out is to scream, to announce ourselves. It is a way for us to state ourselves and to let the world know, I am alive. And by the same token, when we cry, we are in fact re-inviting life back into our body and into our spirit. And it is also very important to remember that when we see people who are feeling or who are grieving, in a healthy way that is, that we never actually question it. Have you ever seen someone who is crying? Have you ever gone and touched with tears and asked them, what do these tears mean? Have you ever wondered why you cry? Well, there are many reasons why we cry. In fact, we can maybe go on forever as to why we cry. But the natural law of nature wants us that when we feel pain, when we feel hurt, just like when you're holding a container that is broken, that whatever that container was holding is going to start to leak. That when we feel pain too, that we are going to start to basically release something that will act as a way of cleansing the part of us, of purifying the part of us that has been hurt. And so tears have a reason to be. It is not something we should be afraid of. It is something, in fact, we should be proud of. Dagra people are continuously expressing their emotions. And the expression of emotion comes in many different ways. It comes through the physical crying, through the sharing of laughter. In fact, it is said that grief and joy walk hand in hand, and you cannot have one without the other. And so being a woman in the Dagra village meant letting the dam of your grief continuously flow. In fact, there is a grief ritual that is always happening somewhere in the tribe, and it is always a way for people to not only allow the part of them that have been hurt, but it is also a way of acknowledging that something else is being born within the self. Because grief is a doorway to healing. It is also a doorway to accessing one's power. It is also a way for us to get into our creativity. And so grief is an important part of Dagra people's life, and we cannot go on with our life or imagine our life without the expression of grief. In fact, there are times when the only thing that can help you is grief. So grief is sometimes the only medicine that will appease your spirit and your aching soul. Even science has been now talking more and more about the importance of grieving in our life, because without grief, something in us not only die, but we also begin to turn our positive emotions into toxicity. In the Dagra culture, when grief is not released, it is said to create illnesses in one's body. It is said to, for instance, create things as simple as a cold, ulcers, cancer, and different things like that. And so while you are sitting thinking, wow, do I really need to grieve? The answer is yes, you absolutely need to grieve. You can remember when you were a child how good it felt to have grieved after you have felt pain, how relaxed you become, because there is something that you have just released, which is toxicity. And the toxicity of grief is not something that we can actually digest. Just like when we breathe out the carbon monoxide, it is not something that is good for our body or our system. But for the trees, it is something absolutely marvelous. It is turned back to oxygen for us. By the same token, when we grieve, we release negative things that allow us to have good energies, to actually be calm, relaxed, to experience joy, and to be peaceful. Genuine peace. Many times, people always wonder why I have a smile on my face. And they're often shocked to hear that I am smiling because I just had a grief session. They find it very strange. But you know what? When you hold too much grief, you cannot actually smile. You cannot have even a genuine laughter. Maybe you can say that it's because I come from a culture that grieves a lot. But I know for a fact, working with people all around the world on the theme of grief and grieving, people definitely shift into a different place of their life when they have been able to release their grief. They become a new person. Something toxic has been released and life is coming back. And they can, in this case, experience true joy. I often share with people that grief,
we need to have two sets of skills. Firstly, to read our own feelings and listen what they are telling us. Secondly, to read other people's feelings so we know how to treat them, even if we stay away from them. If we understand the language of feelings, we can pass this knowledge on to others. Humans have hundreds of feelings, but the main social ones are simple and easy. When we are angry, we stand up for ourselves. When we are sad, we go inwards and reflect, and may want to hold or be held by someone we feel safe with. When we feel joy, we relax and celebrate and restore our spirits. These four feelings can mix and match like the colors we blend to get every shade of the rainbow. But usually deep down we have one feeling at a time, and it really helps to be able to know what it is in ourselves and in others. Most living creatures have feelings. Bees get angry. Fish dart away from danger. Further up the line, elephants and great apes grieve and mourn. Emotions are strong guidance systems, like a GPS, that we can use to understand ourselves and others. exercise. Let's ask ourselves, what am I feeling right now? Feelings are facts. They are real. We need to give it attention. Feelings are facts. They are real. We need to give them attention. Otherwise, they will come back and nag at us, like nagging children. Feelings expressed tells us about our inner state. This can lead to uncovering the causes of those feelings. But feelings always need to come first, and sometimes we won't want anything more than to get it off our chest, and we will feel better again.
Feel the heart. Experience the soul. Community Pulse.